Welcome
to the Bring Me to Life podcast.
It's time to wake up
and shine on. Hello. Welcome to another episode of the Bring Me to Life podcast. Shannon Shine here. And I am super excited and thankful that you are waking up and shining on with me. I'm actually here doing a solo cast today, so I hope I am doing everything correctly. We'll see how this goes. But I'm stoked to be here. We just spent the last couple of episodes together with Suleiman. We had our friend Lauren on, and we talked about working through inner child work and really connecting with what it means to, get on your spiritual path and to release things that were very traumatic, or maybe not release, maybe that's not the best term, maybe more accept and, evolve through things that were really, heavy and things that made us who we are, but maybe not exactly who we wanted to be at first. And I say that as somebody who has had quite the adventure. I have had a lot of loss, grief, and just really dark times in my life from both choices I've made and things that were completely out of my control. And I think that that is something that happens to everybody here in life. So if you are tuning into this episode, it is likely that Spirit has channeled you here in the now for this reason. And I'm really grateful that you're tuning in. And maybe if you know of somebody who is also trying to work through a series of emotions that could be holding them back, I would really be grateful and if you could invite them to listen into. Because I want to talk about something that really helped me get through some of my inner child work. Both that helped me activate my most powerful self, or at least I like to think that I'm stepping into that version of myself every day. And also things that have helped me work through just blocks and fears and things that were really, holding me back and keeping me from even wanting to accept my full power. And when I started doing inner child work, I did a lot of reflecting and realized that, I bottled up a lot of my emotions because I wanted people around me to feel maybe better or to think that I was stronger. And I also didn't want to be a burden on others. So if this resonates for any of you, I would love to connect with you on any of the various social media platforms. You can find me personally at Shantastic Shine in most places. But you can also join us in the Bring Me to Life community on Facebook. And we have the Bring Me to Life network on Instagram. And you can find all that pretty quickly at bringmetolife.com with the number 2. But that being said, if you are someone who feels like you've been bottling up your emotions and maybe not working through some traumatizing things. Maybe you had a very traumatic event happen and you didn't want to think about it. You just wanted to move on. So you pushed it to the back of your mind, but then something triggered inside you and you're now thinking about it and you feel, like you're taking steps backwards instead of forward. And I'm here to remind you that, healing isn't linear. It's not just a start and then there's an ending type of thing. It's an up and down kind of roller coaster. And triggers are really, really powerful reminders of who we are at the same time. As, some of us see them as burdens. Some of them see triggers as, something that can hurt us. But at the same time, they can teach us so much about ourselves and why we react to certain things or how certain people have influenced us throughout our lifetime. And I think that that is a thing that a lot of people don't take time to sort of unpack. We have these different things happen to us and we don't necessarily ask ourselves, how can we learn from this or what good comes out of it? We just are like, we don't want to feel the feelings. We don't want to be upset. We don't want to anything. We just kind of like push it to the side. And again, if we don't want to be a burden on others, We don't want others to think we're not as strong as them or something along those lines. We will put up kind of a barrier, an outer shell, and not share our true feelings and not acknowledge what's really going on in our hearts. So, that being said, sorry, I needed some water there. That being said, it's really, really powerful to look back at our childhood or anything that's triggering to us even. Maybe it's in your later teen years or even just a few years ago, any younger version of you. Because trauma, what it is something that had a lasting impact on you, that really changed who you are. And when I come from working in trauma and releasing things that no longer serve me, I come at it from a chakra point of view, or at least I call it a chakra point of view. I'm sure that there's other ways to explain it. I'm probably not even using chakras in the way that a lot of other people do. But to me, they're energy centers that are very connected to our emotions. And our emotions then reflect in our physical realm. And that can cause, illness. It can cause different reactions in our reality. It can cause communication blocks, headaches, things like that. It can take our aura and make it kind of muddy and yucky and not as bright if we're not acknowledging what's really happening around us. So I started looking into these things called chakras about 10 years ago. I did a little lesson in college where my health teacher, he invited us to do different projects, and I tried to do it in a group. We had group option, and everybody was more interested in doing things on like fast food and just very not spirituality related concepts. And I was very adamant about chakras. They had just kind of appeared in my life synchronistically in a book that I was reading. And then I saw a YouTube video that really just like shook me. And I was like, all right, there's these energy centers and they're different colors. And it was really kind of overwhelming at first, actually. But as an artist, I love to see different emotions in colors. So when I seen that in New Age chakra teachings, they often will represent them as colors of the rainbow. So if you're somebody who can feel color or connects with color in a different way, or if you aren't somebody and you would like to, maybe integrate that into your reality, I invite you to check out the color frequencies of the chakras and how the different emotions can also reflect through color therapy and through, different triggers and things we see out in the world. And in the chakras, they're also connected very much to certain emotions. I learned that when I feel ungrounded, if I feel confused or frustrated, that it's often because I'm afraid of something. Afraid of failure, afraid of falling, afraid of, rejection, afraid of something. And that can block our root chakra. And when I was a kid, there were many things I would, be afraid of after somebody else reacted in a fearful way. Otherwise, when we're children, we're typically pretty fearless until we're taught otherwise. And it's easy for us to also reflect other people's fears and to be molded and kind of programmed by the fears of the adults around us or our siblings or our friends. For another example, when I was a teenager, I loved dancing until all my friends started getting judgmental of each other and one made fun of me and then nobody wanted to dance because nobody else wanted to be made fun of either. And then we all just stopped dancing because we were all programmed to be afraid that if one of us stepped out of that box in that comfort zone, that somebody else would tease them. Even if it was just joking or even if they didn't mean it in a hurtful way, it made them a target, made me a target. So I didn't dance. Things like that can really change your whole life if you allow blocks like that to keep you from activating a big part of yourself. Recently, I worked through that block and I've been slowly dancing more and more, finding my inner rhythm, which I also, maybe I don't have rhythm, and that's okay. But embracing that that's a part of my experience and something that brings me joy that once did as a child has really changed my whole life. I feel like it's unlocked a part of my sacral chakra, which we're going to talk about next, in a whole new way. Because by working through that fear, I found a new sense of confidence to realize that, what was I really afraid of? Somebody else thinking I looked silly or me making someone else uncomfortable? Well, if I'm making someone else uncomfortable, it's up to them to get out of my energy bubble if I'm just being myself. And, who cares if I look a little silly? It's okay to embrace that silliness because then I give others permission to do the same. And that's what the sacral chakra is about. The sacral chakra is about creativity and unlocking your inner confidence. It's also about tapping into your sensuality and your sexuality. But I really like to think of it as creativity. That opportunity to be your full authentic self. To create something out of the being and essence that is you. And as children, we often are very creative beings too. In our own unique ways. Each child creates in a different way, but what we're doing as we begin to grow is we create an experience. So our sacral chakra is one of the chakras that I find the most blocked when I work with people in energy work. They're either creatively blocked, sexualities are blocked, or their confidence is blocked. And that all has stemmed from something in their childhood where someone or something made them feel inadequate or not enough or just too different. And it caused a block there. And that can really, really shake a whole person's life if they can't find time to reflect on what it is they're afraid of and how they can release that fear to activate their confidence. Maybe they feel guilty or ashamed of something. That's typically what blocks the sacral chakra. We're going to move up to the solar. The solar is where we feel support. It's where our friends and family can fill us up. It's why we have gut feelings. It can also be blocked by shame. If somebody makes us feel ashamed of a decision we've made or of a way we've showed up. Things like that. But you can charge up your solar plexus by supporting others and allowing yourself to be supported. Because so often people offer us love and support due to being afraid of letting them down or not being good enough or who knows what other excuse we can come up with in our brain. We put up a barrier and we don't allow ourselves to accept the love and the appreciation that we deserve. So fill up your solar plexus by feeling supported. Think of 3 or 4 people that support you, and they might not be who you expect. But those people are cheering you on. And believe it or not, you might not be able to think of people right off the top of your head now, but there is always somebody out there that is cheering you on, and you may not know who they are. People are watching. And it's funny because we say, oh, no one's paying attention to us, dance like no one's watching. But here's the thing. Who cares if there's someone watching? Because, there probably is. But they're not judging you. They're judging themselves. They're maybe comparing themselves to you and not necessarily in a bad way. Maybe you're inspiring them. Maybe you are pushing them to be a better version of them. Maybe, if they're judging you in a negative way, it's because that's something that you're doing in themselves that they wish that they also didn't reflect. There's so many different ways to look at it. But just do you and allow the others to cheer you on. And if you're too much, then tell people to go find less, because there's no need for you to be any less than what you are. Because the more you shine, there are going to be more people that you give permission to shine with you than people that hate you. And if they do hate you, again, that is their problem. And we're going to take that on up to the heart chakra, where the heart chakra is the portal to the upper and lower chakras. If you can open up your ability to love, you're really going to fulfill that inner child's need. That trauma that has happened, it probably has blocked you from accepting a lot of love that you deserve. Because trauma makes us, again, fearful. It makes us lose confidence in the ability to believe that we deserve love or appreciation or gratitude or, miracles from spirit. But the heart can also be blocked by grief of a person, a place, a thing, an opportunity. It doesn't have to just be a death either. It can be a breakup. It can be the loss of a job or moving from your childhood home. It can be the loss of an opportunity. Maybe you decided you were going to quit college or something, or go to college and you're having to leave home, or who knows? There's so many different scenarios out there that you could be grieving. But grief is, again, this is a quote that is not mine, but I love, but it's all the love you have to give with nowhere to go. So give that grief somewhere to go. Honor it. Respect it. Ask yourself, what has this experience, person, place, thing taught you? And how can you integrate that into your now experience? When I grieve the loss of my family members, I think of a way I can honor them and take them into, the future with me. Roses remind me of my grandmother. Different songs remind me of my mother. When I see certain deer, they remind me of my grandpa, and certain other creatures remind me of other members of my family. Every time I think of a hospital, I send love to a job that I had that I once really cared about. Every time I see a certain type of art, I think of one of my instructors that has come and gone. There's so many different ways you can honor and think of people and grieve in a different way, a way that's not painful, but instead honorable, that brings you joy to think about the things that once brought you sadness. People say, how can you do that and still care about or integrate through really scary experiences, things that are out of our control, like the loss of a small child, or, cancer, or even sexual situations that are harmful to us. And yes, there's all these really dark things that happen in the world, and I've had a lot of them happen to me. They're not fun. You can't forget them. But you can honor that they were a part of your experience, and that because it happened, there's something to learn there. And that may sound cheesy, but it's helped me through some really dark things, and a lot of big losses, and a lot of really scary, intense experiences that I thought were going to be the end of me. And just allowing myself to still be loved and to give love and to not let it harden me in a way that the world seemed like no one cared anymore. I mean, I've had those days. There's definitely days where I feel like no one and nothing cares. But then I remember everything happens for a reason. I'm here. I'm going to survive. And if I don't, then spirit will lead me down the next path. So why not love, be love, give love, and try to figure out how to honor all of the things that I've lost. In doing so, I like to share my story and speak my truth, which brings us to the throat chakra. Our throat chakra is not only how we speak and communicate with others, but it's also how we self-represent. Are you being your most authentic self? Are you dressing, acting, and showing up in the character that you choose to? Again, when we're children, we're often so free. Have you ever seen a child dress themselves? It's adorable. It's so authentic. They don't care about patterns. They wear whatever makes them feel comfy that day. You might have a tutu on with, fire engine hat and a cape and, ballerina shoes, or maybe your soccer shoes. Who cares? They're in their element. They're feeling themselves that day. But we lose that ability as adults because we're so afraid of judgment. We're so afraid of being ourselves. And to be honest, I live in a small town where, there's a lot of people that used to just kind of wear their PJs out and about. And that was kind of like a joke that a lot of my friends would make. Oh, the people who can't even get out of their PJs. And I'm like, those people are so confident in themselves. Like, maybe they did feel like being lazy that day, but who are we to tell them if they need to match or to change or to do anything? Who are we to judge others if they're being their most authentic selves and they're comfortable in it and they're not hurting us? I've had people tell me, to get a normal haircut or whatever, to have normal hair color and to to wear normal clothes because I'm usually a little bit eccentric. And, who are they to tell me how I get to experience this life? And who are you to let others tell you how to dress, how to speak, whether or not you should sing or dance? If you're trying to open your throat chakra, I highly suggest, finding a way to sing or hum or even just kind of speak in, one of my friends calls it flowetry. Our friends over at Paradigm Shift, they do flowetry workshops where they just flow with words from the universe. And it's kind of like poetry, but it's not quite rap, just flowetry. Just let your voice be heard and to channel what the spirit has to say. When you're children, we're also a lot more free with our words. So tap into your inner child. What do they have to say? And how do they want to say it? How do they want to express themselves? And how can you honor that in the now? If you're unsure of that, maybe go up into your third eye, that inner eye, your intuition, and ask yourself, what would your younger self have you do? Where would they have you go? What would they have you say? How would you look while you're saying it? And how can you honor them? How can you connect with that inner child and really allow yourself to be who that person needed? Be who you needed when you were younger. Now, the third eye is a little bit more than that too. It can channel you messages. But it's also about faith and having the faith that Spirit wants you to have that enjoyment. Having faith that Spirit put you here as a child to have the experience that you're having right here, right now, for a reason. And if you're having a problem with that, then it's time to tap into your crown. If you're feeling blocked and you're like, that's just not how the world works, Shannon, then I'm here to invite you to release everything you thought you knew and allow everything that you deserve or that Spirit wishes to bestow upon you. I had somebody earlier, I was doing an insight timer, and they said, I don't like the word desire or deserve. It was deserve, not desire. They were like, I don't like the word desire and deserve because I never felt like I deserved anything. My parents told me that I didn't deserve a reward because I didn't get good enough grades even though I tried. And I was like, oh, so you don't like the word deserve? You don't feel like you deserve something? So if you're somebody who feels like you don't deserve everything the world has to offer, I invite you to release that attachment. If you had a child, would you want to give that child everything? Would you wish to be able to see that child have everything it wanted? I would hope so. Maybe you're like, oh, I wouldn't want to give my child everything, they'd be spoiled. But I think you'd see different. If everyone was able to accept what they truly deserved and what they desired, the world, I think, would shift into a lot less fear, a lot less anger, a lot less control of others. So, Spirit, your higher self, God, whatever you believe in, it sent you here as a child because it wants you to have everything that you deserve and desire. So, I want you to allow yourself to believe that you deserve anything that you desire. As long as it's not harming another person. Spirit wants to see you succeed, so release the attachment to thinking that you don't deserve something. Release the attachment to thinking something has to be hard. I know I say this and I make it look easy. It's something I'm totally also still programming. But I have been for the last 10 years. Even more so the last 7 years. And yes, it's been a roller coaster. But it's been such a powerful experience. And I've seen such growth. I started being a part of Bring Me to Life 7 years ago. It was 7 years ago, about a week ago actually, that Silamon appeared here. We went to a festival, and in that moment, I still feel like I was very much a child version of myself. I was scared. I was angry. I was feeling alone. I was feeling broken. I felt like the world hated me. My grandma was dying. I'd broken up with the guy I was with for 3 years. I quit my job. I was graduating college. But I felt like I was at rock bottom. And I was so confused. Suleiman came with some of our friends. You probably heard that story. It's in many other podcasts. And we saw the dream of Bring Me to Life together in a new way. And we activated it. So Bring Me to Life has been rolling again for about 7 years. And to me, I feel like I went through a personal upgrade of each chakra since this journey has started for me. I've gotten more grounded. I started to find my confidence. We found a support system, a team that we work with. I've learned how to accept and give love in completely different ways and more unconditional ways. I'd like to think I found my voice. Y'all seem to enjoy hearing me talk. I hope I'm not annoying you too much. In my third eye, I couldn't close it if I tried. Okay, that's not true. I can close it when I need to, but it is wide open. In my crown, it's a little crooked sometimes, but I do my best to try to release attachment. I used to be somebody who had to schedule and learn and, plan everything ahead and be overwhelmingly obnoxious about it. And now I know how to go with the flow a little bit more and to know that Spirit's got my back because it's had me this far. Yeah, it's given me some things to think about. It's definitely given me some rock bottoms. But each one of those rock bottoms is a story that I now can share with you and help inspire you and help others that went through the same rock bottom so that you don't feel like you're so alone. So I'm okay with it. That being said, I really hope you take some time to reflect on your inner child and to think about those chakra energies. If you are interested in learning more about the chakras, I'm actually doing a whole lot of chakra things right now. First of all, I released a fancy book that I'm so excited to finally get out into the world. It's called Alignment. It's actually kind of like a little handbook. And in this handbook, I put all of the different tools that I've used over the years to learn even more about these energy centers, from oils to herbs, foods to eat, journals that have made me think, even crystals in astrology, animals, angels, whatever I could think of. I've organized in a little handbook fashion here for all of you to also be able to tap into these energy centers in a different way. I understand that, everybody's way of connecting with these energy centers and trauma is very, very different. I've worked with many different clients and family members and friends over the years, and it's been quite a unique ride. And I've tried to incorporate some of their different techniques in here too, from yoga to meditations. So the Alignment Handbook is kind of my cheat sheet to activating yourself and learning how to, I don't know if control is the word, but understand your emotions in a different way. Your fear, your guilt, your shame, your anger, and how to transform it into more confidence and love and gratitude and strength. So if you're interested in checking out that handbook, I have physical copies and digital copies on my personal website, shantasticshine.com, and I'm hoping to get them added to the Bring Me to Life website pretty soon. However, definitely go check out shantasticshine.com for me if you don't mind, because there's all kinds of other cool stuff there too. I've got jewelry, I've got meditations, I've got courses. And if you're really, really just ready to dive into these chakras, you're like, all right, the book sounds cool, but I really just wish you'd walk me through it in a deeper level. Fun fact, I actually do one-on-one sessions with people where we can meet, privately and separately, and we can spend a week going through each chakra. It's a little bit of a chakra mentorship. I have a group offering that I'm going to be launching, I guess is the best way to put it, at the end of August, beginning of September. And I'll be doing a free 7-day version where we just kind of introduce each chakra in a little bit of a deeper way on my Facebook group, my Shine On with Shannon Facebook group. It'll probably be cross-streamed in the Bring Me to Life community on Facebook. So if you're linked up with me there, then you'll be able to see and tune into the replays as well. I do have older versions of the chakra challenge, if you can't wait to be live with us at the end of August, I believe we're launching on August 22nd of 2021. Or if you're listening to this in the future, what up, time traveler? You can also check out my YouTube, and there are different chakra videos there, because I just really think that if you give yourself time to learn about these different things, these different energy centers, these different tools, techniques, and offerings that Spirit has, thrown in front of you by inviting you here to hear me now, then you might just maybe find something that will help you feel like the best version of you, or a better version of you. And I really hope that that's, something you're aiming for. I know some people are just aiming to get through the next day, but I'm inviting you to remember that life's not just about making it through the next day. How can you make each day better than the last? Might not be that each day is better than the last, but if you can take a little bit of action, you'd be really surprised how you can really, truly transform your life, get in alignment, and make that inner child so happy and proud of who you've become. So, I've talked a lot. I'm grateful that you all stayed with me here for this solo cast. I am Shannon Shine, and you can find me at shantasticshine.com or at shantasticshine on most social medias. Go check out my book. It's called Alignment. It's a handbook. Again, it's at shantasticshine.com. Or you can find out more about Bring Me to Life and our network at bringmetolife.com with the number 2. We got so many other cool podcasts and podcasters over there. We got some good articles and all kinds of fun stuff, radio, videos. Go check it out, bringmetolife.com. And yeah, that's what I've got. So, we'll see you next time. I hope you stay awake and shine on always. Bye for now. For many of us, spirituality is just the quest to find essence or true meaning, and to really just connect with a higher consciousness.
Connecting with your spirituality is very important in this life. By becoming mindful of all of it, you can realize where you are and if that is leading you to where you want to go.
Listen to the little simple things, because it's those little simple things that are going to shift you vibrationally in such a way that will prepare you to become very intuitively minded and ready to step forward on the next part of your path.
I hope you can feel the love that's inside you, it's inside me, that connects us.
Thanks for shining on with us.